Most traditional indicators are terrible, outdated, even useless. But not this one. Today we're going to be looking at one of the new tools on lookintobitcoin.com under the portfolio tools section for all you new Look Into Bitcoin subscribers. Now this is an indicator that is more catered towards more frequent mid-cycle trading, or to use as confluence for your longer term investing. And it's this one here, the Crosby Ratio. So if we just go into it here and look immediately at the chart, you can see it might look a little bit all over the place. It's giving quite frequent signals, but like we said, this is more catered towards more frequent signals, intra-cycle take profit points and accumulation areas. So if we just zoom in a little bit, it may be a little clearer on exactly how we can use this tool to implement and improve our trading and analysis. As we can immediately see here, it gives very clear indications of when the market's potentially over-exuberated to the upside, as well as when we may be in potentially accumulation areas with discounted prices when we see the ratio dip into this green area here. And like we said, this tool has very accurately indicated areas of great potential profit-taking areas throughout the last few years for Bitcoin, marking both previous all-time highs, as well as areas that just preceded a bit of a pullback in the market, potentially when we just ran up a little bit exponentially for a little bit too long. And the same is true for the downside. After each capitulation event, after each stark decrease, we dropped into this buy area, and in every single circumstance, at least had a notable rebound. It may not have indicated the exact market bottoms on every single signal, but that isn't really what it's trying to do. Like we said, this is more catered towards these mid-cycle peaks and troughs that we can use to accumulate and distribute to try and maximize our efficiency for our shorter term trading, but then also to use in confluence for our longer term investing signals. So what is this tool actually showing us? Well, it's a pretty simple mathematical formula, and if I just scroll down here, it may explain it a little clearer. The Crosby Ratio is looking at a 30-period moving average for Bitcoin before standardizing the data for the average true range or volatility. So this arctangent is really just the degree change of the moving average. If I show this diagram here, it may explain a little clearer. If we just find this internal degree change or the angle here, that is what we're doing with the Crosby Ratio. We're working out the angular difference in the moving average. And as it states, this provides a great view into the areas of exponential upside or downside price action for BTC. But unlike many other indicators, these top zones for accumulation and distribution weren't just arbitrarily created at certain specific values. These are actually being automatically adjusted and calculated to ensure that 5% of all price action is included in both the upper boundary and the lower boundary, which gives us a much clearer and accurate indication that accounts for the changing market conditions throughout all Bitcoin and all different assets. This may be best explained if I go to TradingView here, because if you're a Look Into Bitcoin subscriber and you have access to the Crosby Ratio, you'll also gain access to the Crosby Ratio TradingView indicator, which provides another invaluable tool for your trading, investing, and analysis. And if I just load up this normal distribution curve here, we can see that this top ratio is accounting for the 95th percentile of data, and this bottom green area is the bottom 5th percentile of all data accounted for throughout all of Bitcoin's history. And like we said, using a distribution model such as this one allows the data to be more accurately modeled towards the asset that we're applying this indicator to. Because different assets have different market conditions, and even different timeframes have different conditions. Applying this indicator to something like the 5-minute chart on Forex is going to look substantially different to applying it to equities on a monthly timeframe, because this indicator will automatically fit and adjust to all of the data. So like we said, this indicator can be applied to any chart, any time frame, and still have very effectful results. So here we're just on Bitcoin versus the US dollar on the weekly chart to see great areas of accumulation that this indicator picked up, as well as great take profit areas throughout of all of Bitcoin's history. So again, this is based on the basis that using a 30-day moving average, or practically a monthly moving average for Bitcoin, gives a great level of almost a short-term fair value that price tends to have some kind of mean reversion towards. So once we see a huge volatile divergence either above this mean reversion level or far beneath this 30-day moving average, it usually indicates an overheated market or an area where potentially Bitcoin may be discounted on a shorter to mid-term basis. And for this strategy specifically, we're just assuming entering Bitcoin positions once we've dipped into this green buy area and crossed back above. To cross back into this mid territory, we buy on those signals and we sell 5% of our equity as soon as we cross into this red zone and back beneath it once more. So it gives us a very clear indication of areas where accumulation makes most fiscal sense, as well as when profit taking seems to be the best course of action for your capital. But again, this is purely just using this indicator on its own. Once we actually include other look into Bitcoin metrics and look for confluence throughout the markets, it becomes considerably more effective. Here, once we combine this Crosby ratio alongside the Bitcoin investor tool, which is acting as a 2-year moving average multiple for BTC, so we're only accumulating beneath this green lower moving average and we're taking profit once we're above this level, we can see it very clearly and accurately accumulates during the tail end of bear cycles when Bitcoin is at a heavily discounted price, and only takes profit towards the more exponential end of the bull cycles when we can implement and act on the most profitable and efficient take profit levels. And this is only risking 2% of your capital per trade. So this is a very, very risk-averse implementation of a simple strategy that you could alter, fine-tune, and implement very simply and easily for yourself. And we can see if we just zoom in currently, most recently after we've had a slight pullback in the Bitcoin price from around the $30,000 level to where we sit now around the $25,000 to $26,000 level, it is signaling right now that accumulation is the most sensible course of action that we can currently implement. But again, this is not limited to just the macro timeframes. This indicator will automatically adjust regardless of time frame or asset. So here I've just dropped down to the 4-hour time frame on Bitcoin, and we can see it's just as effective for these more mid-cycle swings and more frequent trades that we can implement for our portfolio. And this is just as simple as combining the Crosby ratio and the Bitcoin investor tool, but we could look to something for even more frequent signals, such as the look into Bitcoin golden ratio multiplier, and specifically this orange boundary line here, this 350-day moving average for Bitcoin. And just implementing something like this alongside the Crosby ratio would provide a great cyclical tool for your shorter to mid-term positions, and especially when using this as a tool for potentially adding to your long-term Bitcoin positions, or for unbiased, unemotional signals for great take profit points. This is another great tool to add to your trading arsenal. And like we said, due to the versatility of this ratio, we could apply this to other assets. So here I'm just looking at Ethereum, crypto's second largest asset, for equally impressive returns on such a simple strategy that anyone could implement. And what's even more impressive is implementing it on something like the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, so we can see its effectiveness on all crypto assets. All altcoins, small or large, regardless of market cap, they're included in this total 2 ratio. And on the 2-hour time frame, without any longer term confluence signals such as the investor tool or the golden ratio multiplier, we can see that the impactfulness of this ratio is absolutely unparalleled compared to all other traditional indicators. Going back till 2017, we can see the profitability of implementing solely this indicator alone and how impressive the returns would be for doing so, risking only 1% of your capital per trade. Of course, I wouldn't recommend just blindly implementing something like this. I definitely suggest doing your own research, testing what works for you, and ensuring that you're only implementing strategies that are accounting for your risk appetite. But as a great foundational starting point to add additional filters and signals for further confluence and effectiveness, you can't go wrong with something like this indicator. We can even see unparalleled performance when implementing this indicator on something like gold. We can look at assets outside of the cryptocurrency space, and once we've found confluence through look into Bitcoin macro data tools, they can combine to provide outsized returns for the intelligent investor. Even on global equities and indexes such as the S&P 500, going back throughout its entire trading history, we can see without implementing any other signals for confluence or moving average baselines or anything like that, purely implementing the Crosby ratio has provided, quite frankly, unbelievable returns for an indicator so simple. Also, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to ensure you're receiving all of our content as soon as it's released. So just to summarize, the Crosby Ratio is a technical tool that outlines areas of exponential upside or downside prices on a mid-market cycle basis for both Bitcoin and other assets. It calculates the arc tangent or the angular change of a 30-period moving average of price action before standardizing the data for the average true range or volatility of Bitcoin. And implemented alongside other metrics for Confluence, this tool has accurately outlined the most opportune moments of accumulation and distribution to form a very effective trading strategy. And like we saw when implemented as an indicator on TradingView and used on other assets and timeframes, this provides unparalleled performance and efficiency compared to all traditional trading indicators. And don't forget that right now you can upgrade to a Pro plan for just $74 a month on a special lifetime deal using code PRO70. Although this really is a limited time offer that will expire in just 1 week. So act now if you want to lock in the best ever new subscriber Pro plan price forever. Check it out, and like I said, please leave a comment down below and on social media. I look forward to reading and replying to all of your thoughts and opinions on this indicator, as well as the new and improved and expanded Look into Bitcoin site. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.